Hi, my name is Txai Surui, and I'm the executive producer of The Territory, which was co-produced by the Uruguay indigenous community here in the Brazilian Amazon. Here are a few highlights of what we have been able to accomplish with our impact campaign this year.
E numa votação de uma legislação histórica que proíbe as empresas de importarem produtos oriundos do desmatamento, mais de 150 membros do Parlamento Europeu assistiram ao filme.
I ask you to support our fight. Thank you.
Alguns citaram o filme antes da votação.
Back home to commemorate the life of my friend Ariel and demand justice for his murder with a street artist to create a 16-story mural overlooking downtown São Paulo. And the thing I'm most excited about, we are building a multimedia and cultural center within the Uruguay territory.
E no interior temos uma sala de exibição, 2 salas de edição de vídeo e fotos e também uma sala de podcast, onde nós vamos mostrar o nosso trabalho e a nossa cultura. A madeira usada na construção é feita de madeireiros ilegais.
Through this center, we will remain in control of our own story and how it is told.
So, this event is about youth and leaders. Here we've got a youth leader. This is Txai Surui. She's Brazilian. She comes from the Amazon. She's studied law in the Federal University in Rondônia. She belongs to the Paiter Surui people, very proudly. She's an activist. She works hard to protect the Amazon. She works hard to give dignity to the indigenous communities in the Amazon. She works hard to fight against climate change. In April 2021, she, together with 5 friends, took the Brazilian government to justice for non-respect by Brazil of the Paris Climate Agreement. She's spoken at numerous events, most notably at the COP in Glasgow. You told me also in Madrid, Glasgow, and Sharm el-Sheikh. She's received death threats. This is also part of her reality. Unfortunately, this is what happens to many activists. But I want to, before I pass the floor to Txai, give you a sentence that she often quotes that I love. She knows how to listen to the stars, to the moon, to the wind, to animals, to trees, and all of them are suffering from climate change. Txai, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'm nervous. So because that I will read, okay? Dom Phillips, Bruno Pereira, Arildo Euauau, Paulino Guajajara, Zizico Guajajara, Irmã Dorothy, Maxwell dos Santos. I could use all the time I have here to mention the names of those who were killed for loving and protecting the Amazon. I'm Txai Surui, an indigenous activist from the Paité Surui people, and I hope my name will never join this tragic list that's been growing so bad, especially in the past few years. And I hope to keep my father, the great chief Almir Surui, and my mother, the environmental activist Neidinha Bandeira, out this tragic list. This too. But that's a really hard mission once they have already received so many death threats. Do you know how it's like to live under constant risk? We do. I wonder if you ever get shocked by what's happening in the Amazon rainforest. If you do, please don't close your eyes to the blue trail of deforestation, invasions, illegal mining and logging, land grabbing and killings. If you take a close look, you will find out that the meat and leather industry is connected to this tragedy too. I spent most of my childhood at the Uruguay indigenous territory. Greed and evil people destroyed parts of this land to create illegal cattle fields. Nowadays, the invaders is estimated to be worth around 20 million euros. Do you know where meat and leather are going to? Here, France, the European countries, China, and the USA. Besides that, several of indigenous territory in the Amazon are green islands surrounded by an ocean of soya fields that are poisoning our rivers, fish, and nature. Brazil is the world's largest user of pesticides, and the list of approved ones has exponentially increased since 2019. During that same year, 44% of the pesticides registered there were banned in European countries because of health toxicity. I would like help from you, young people, to ask your countries and companies, when are they going to admit that our genocide is also in their hands? Who will comfort the mothers who lose their kids because of mercury and other diseases brought by mining? Who will protect our lives from threats by defending the forest? When you have human rights being harmed, not acting means colluding. Buying products and supply derived, sorry for my English, from our lives and territory is to contribute to what is happening. You cannot longer use to excuse that you don't know, because we are denouncing it every day and everywhere. will you take real and efficient solutions only when our last one is murdered and we no longer have forests to call it home? Are not you afraid that it's too late? Don't you realize that nature has its limits and that we are the ones who depends on it? When we have no more trees, where will you ride from the sun? What you will drink when all the rivers run dry? When there is no more forest, who do you think will take the rain to your plantation? The gold that you use will not turn into food, and your money won't buy life. So I would like to say to the government, to the companies, and to the consumers, it's easy to blame the other, but the truth is we all have responsibility. You should have listened to us before. Our bodies are preventing the destruction from escalating. The consequences of the climate change are already being felt, and they will affect everyone. Today, it's the Amazon, Alaska, Pakistan, but tomorrow it will be New York, London, and Paris. When we reach the point of not return, maybe you will remember that we are part of this great ecosystem and that no life is worth more than another, whether it is the life of the forest or the animals. The truth is, we don't have time. We must all unite to fight the climate crisis. Government must make bold and deeper commitments. Companies must invest in monitoring their products, in the circular economy, and in social responsibility. None of us should accept that human rights are violated. Everyone can do their part to decrease their carbon footprint as an individual and be more sustainable. It's everyone that to act. Climate action is not an option. It's the only way to the future. Thank you.
I think, Txai, you're very brave. In my terrible portuñol, I could not do what you've just done in English. I want to, before we open the floor to comments, and I'm sure there is going to be many, I wanted to ask why? Why did you decide to be an activist? Why did you put yourself ahead of all the others?
First, I would like to thank you for inviting me to be here. It's very special to me being with the youth and with you. When we are an indigenous person, we born activists because we don't have choice sometimes. We born and we fight. So I think in my parents, they are activists, and I think this is my life. It's not about me. It's about my people, my territory, about the forest. So I think I couldn't choose other other way.
And how do you do it? How do you, give these young people a few tips on how does one exercise this leadership that you're exercising? How do you do that? I am asking for a bit of a secret. It's good that you share a bit of your secrets.
I to us, to the indigenous peoples, we never do something alone. So I do this with my people, with my youth, and we need to be united. How what was I said, and organizing is like this. I do this. We organizing, and we know what we want, and when do we want? Now. So I do. Learned with my parents uh, how is being artist, and I I'm a founder of this youth movement of the Rondônia state, and I realized that we need to be together because we are suffering the same things in different territories, but it's the same fight. So I create this movement, this group, to organizing uh, all the young people that already already that are working in their territories like me, and but we are not connected. So I understand that. Okay, we need to be connected. We need to work together, and I I did this, and now in the youth movement we have 15 different indigenous peoples, and we can impact more than 1,000 peoples. And it's not easy, but we can. We can change. We can change the things if we fight. I don't know if I answer you.
Yeah, yeah, very
Not
clearly.
say all my secrets.
Well, we'll get to that. I'm sure there's going to be more questions about that later. I wanted to ask you, what's the most difficult thing for you? What is it that keeps you awake at night?
I think my big concern is with my family, if with my people, with uh, who I love, because this is dangerous, and I don't concern about me, but I'm concerned that they can do some bad thing with who I love. So I think this is the worst thing that I'm concerned.
I'm going to open the floor to you. Whomever has a question has to, as usual, go to the mic. This is your moment to interact with Txai. So you please tell us who you are and put your question.
Okay. Hi, I'm Katarina. I'm a second-year student in the Human Rights Masters. Thank you so much for being with us today. And I have a question. So you mentioned companies and European companies. And we know that in Europe, so in France, in Germany, and soon in the European Union, there is legislation that tries to make companies responsible for what they do abroad and what they do in the Brazilian Amazon or the cattle industry. So what are your thoughts on this kind of legislation? How helpful is it? What big of a role could it play? How should it be improved maybe? Any thoughts you want to share on that? Thank you so much.
First, thank you for your question. And this legislation is very important because sometimes the other countries don't know how they are affecting us, our lives. And it's easy to say that you don't know, you know. And when we go there to talk with them, we say about that's not only about the trees, it's about our lives, and that they are responsible too. And an important thing, that's it, that's about lives. And so I said, okay, it's an important thing. In the Uruguay indigenous land, in just a little part of this land, there are more than 6,000 cattle there. Come to here, to France, to casino group. So if you buying meat in the casino, you are support our genocide. And so it's very important that the other countries stop buying this meat, come from our territories. And this legislation, if I can change, I will put the human rights violations in this legislation. But it's very important that the European countries are doing this. I hope that the other countries can do the same, because this can really affect us if the countries stop buying this meat, because they don't will sell if anyone buying this. I don't know if I was.
Thank you very much. Lady over there.
Hello. I'm not sure if it's on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you, first of all, for being here. It's an honor to have you here to listen to what you have to say. My name is Ana Paula Rios. I'm a Mexican student in international governance and diplomacy. And for me, of course, for my country, the rights of indigenous peoples is one of the main concerns that we must have, and the government has completely overlooked in the past years. I wanted to ask you that if the arrival of President Lula and the appointment, for example, of Sonia Guajajara into the Minister of the Indigenous Peoples, would you believe that will change something, that will give more power to the indigenous peoples in Brazil? Or do you think it won't really change a lot?
I want to befriend all of you. After you drink. Tá marcado aí. Thank you for your question. I think now is a very good, very beautiful moment in Brazil. I was in alguém sabe falar posse em inglês? Como? Inauguration of Sonia and Marina, and oh my God, I crying a lot, you know, because it's very special. You see the indigenous peoples in the place that we always deserve. Because all the fight and all the resistance that we did in these last years. And I really believe that the things will change in Brazil with the my minister, Sânia Guajajara, and Lula said that he will put the environmental in the top of his government. And Marina Silva, she's our environmental minister, and she's very brave and from the Amazon. But I know that we have a long way, you know. We need the government, but we need the companies, and we need the civil society, and we need the international cooperation as well, because yeah, we suffering the worst years in this for last years. But I really believe that the things will change, because Marina said that we will have environmental. Como é que é transversal, João? Horizontal. Horizontal program, environmental program. So so it's important that the indigenous peoples are not only in the indigenous minister, but in the all, to change the things.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lady over there.
Actually, my question, so I just wanted to say muito obrigada.
Maravilhosa.
I don't know if this is working. Okay, it's working. I'm Angie. Thank you so much for being here. I don't really know how to articulate my question, but I'm gonna try. It was something about kind of how do you understand your strategy of like appealing or talking to former colonial or imperial powers and businesses with regards to like, I guess more like, I don't know, more like radical movements like land back or land defense, because they're like very much criminalized and seen as like eco-terrorists. And I think that like, as like what you said, the thing of like your family getting death threats and all of that, and how that like, how this like land defense is very much criminalized, and like how the, wait, I lost my question. I think, yeah, my question is mainly just how, do you understand that strategy of then going to like COP or UN and all of that, and how do you articulate it with these other like indigenous movements? Thank you.
So how do you do the most difficult conversations with governments or with business? In a nutshell.
Business, I think. Because the government, they lie to you. So they are always pretend, you know. they never, but I talk with a lot of people, and I had the opportunity to talk with the companies and who invest in this. The investidores, né? And I say to the guy that was presenting the companies that they should stop supporting these companies that are doing this. And he said to me, but it's so difficult, you know. I don't know if we can do this because always about the money, you know, and I say, okay, if you want financial and invest in something, invest in us, in the indigenous peoples, in our fight. And he said, but this is, it's, you know, we cannot do our like donation or, you know. And I say, I'm not asking this. We work and we work a lot with a lot of things. And so invest in us, support us, is support the future, because your money will not value if you don't have life. And the future is now.
Thank you. Also, you have really cool socks.
And the governments, they are difficult too, but I say, they always say, I will try. Okay.
Yeah. Hello. I'm Marcus. Very nice to meet you. I was. What do you tell those who, who right now, so workers, for instance, who right now benefit from the deforestation of the Amazon? Those who work in jobs related to the wood industry, for instance. How do you get those to accept or at least, or even support your movement? How do you? Yeah. It's also about communication, exactly. And also maybe related to that, how can these people be kind of, motivated to support your cause more generally? I hope that was clear.
I'm happy that you are more nervous than me, so now I'm more okay. I say to them that because we need. I think this is a very good question, because in Brazil we have indigenous land. There are more than 20,000 illegal miners. And okay, now we can take out them, but after that, what we will do? If we don't give to them other way, they will come back. And in Brazil, and I say to these people that the forest have more value alive that that died. But we need to think about that. We need to think, okay, and in Brazil, the people was taught that progress is destroy the forest. And we need to teach them that no, we have other way, and and this is more important to us, to the youth, because we will suffering more than my parents or my grandparents suffer in the past. But it's difficult, because just need to change the mind and the people. We need the public politics, because sometimes they put we against the other, and sometimes we are suffering the same thing.
Thank you.
This is a very important point that you're making. It's not pitting those whose livelihoods are being destroyed and those whose livelihoods have been destroyed. This is a lose-lose. Very good point. Lady over there.
Am I audible? Yeah. Hi. Thank you so much for coming. I think at PSIA we need these discussions. I have kind of two short questions. Number one would be, would you like to join, would you like to get into politics maybe later in your life and make those difference, sign those treaties? And number two would be, many of us sitting here would be joining our own national governments soon, maybe in the next 10 years. What is that one thing which you would want us to do and which will help your people? We're all from different nationalities, over 150 nationalities here. One thing that we can do in our own governments that will help your people. So these two small questions.
Okay, Thank you. I think I want the director of my film is beside não, do lado. And he filmed me say that I will be the president of Brazil. It's true. So, and if I can ask something to the other governments, it's not a easy question because I think I have a lot of things to ask, and I'm from the Amazon. The Amazon's it's not it's not only it's a global issue, because if you lost the Amazon, we lost the planet, and I hope that the other countries can see that we need to protect this place, and this means support the indigenous peoples, support our fight, because we are 5% the all world population, and we protect 80% the all biodiversity. And if you go to Brazil, you will see that we have forests where the indigenous people are living. So I think if I have just one question, I will ask you to support our fights, because the climate change is first about the people.
Thank you, and I love your hat. Great. I mean, headwear. Thank you.
Thank you very much, lady over there.
Muito obrigada também. So my name is Lola. I come from Guatemala, and I'm studying human rights. And I was wondering, before the elections in Brazil and all the change that is hopefully coming now, with your work, you witness a lot of disasters daily. And was there something giving you hope? Thank you.
Thank you.
Sim.
I think my hope comes from my people, come from this. You say about my headdress. This is my uncle did this to me and say, you need this because you will represent our people. So you are a labioi, that means leader in my language. And you will never be alone, because the spirit of the forest are with you, because my headdress. And they are always with me, because it's not, I'm here because my family, because my territory, because the forest, and this is give me do me more stronger, and the hope is come from the forest.
Yes, yes.
The lady over there.
Hi, thank you. I'm Mary. I'm from Aotearoa, New Zealand. With the release of the film, I'm sure your community has had a lot of attention and a lot of outsiders coming to your community and asking you lots of questions like we are here. And I was wondering, how would you ask outsiders to interact with Indigenous communities respectfully so that outsiders are not extractive or tokenist and we can best support the work that you do?
Say that again.
How could outsiders best support Indigenous communities in Brazil so that we are not extractivist or tokenist?
I realized that the people here don't really know what's going on there. So I think it's important you talk about this, talk about what's going on, and of course you can help us, send money to us because we don't have any money to do our work, and we have a lot of associations that do this work, that the monitoring our territories, that are fighting for the rights, that are protecting the forest, that are doing all this thing, and you are here, and here you are more close that to the people that can help us as well, and you can, I said, you can talk more about than this, in more than this. You can stop buying in casino. Cassino vai vir atrás de mim, com certeza. And you can ask to your government to stop support our genocide. You can do things here in your place. And okay, I should. We have a website that you can give a donation, and I think you can follow the indigenous peoples from Brazil, the associations for Brazil, to know what's going on and how you can support.
So a bit of a shout out for an association that a group of you has created. It's called Pour le Brésil. One of the aims of this association will precisely be to get a better understanding for students in Sciences Po of what is happening in the Amazon, as well as to get a better understanding for young people in the Amazon about what's happening in Sciences Po. So watch that space. Gentleman over there.
Thank you for your intervention. I am Enzo from the Master of Governance and Diplomacy. My question is about economy. How is the economic situation of the indigenous people in Brazil? And second element, do you face discrimination, racism, or other things that block your progression in society?
The situation, economic situation is difficult because with the climate change, for example, are impacting us. So when should rain, not rain, and this affect our security food. But we have a lot of work to push this and change the situation. For example, now my people are working with tourism, and so go there, please. Visit us. And we work with coffee and banana, nuts, and because we need to send something. In Brazil, we have 305 different indigenous peoples. And all these peoples have different situations, different contexts, you know. I'm not suffering the same that the other territories, so I cannot speak for everyone, you know. And but was some indigenous land are very bad, but some others are better, and we the indigenous peoples, we are plural, and yeah, so I can't talk about my land, and we pass bad things in the past because the COVID and this and this bring a lot of problems and to our place, but now we are working hard to change this, and we are doing this. We are changing, and we are better now.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ariana, and I'm a second-year master's student of international development. And I thank you for all you do, despite the danger it represents to you and the people you love. And we share the Amazon, and we share also the sadness and frustration when the big media doesn't notice every single that goes wasted by criminals. My question is, how have you managed to grow your platform, and how do you manage the relationship with the big media? Because in our countries, there's local media, independent media, and then national media that is not really national. So how have you managed to pass your message in these big platforms?
Thank you. And I forgot to answer that about the discrimination. Yes, we we have a lot of racism in Brazil, and they against the indigenous peoples. So yeah, I saw racism a lot of times. But thank you for your question. I really like this question because I really like to talk about that. Because now this is like a gun to us, and you saw in our film. Now we are using the social media to denunciate, to preserve our culture, and these are changing the things. Now I'm a columnist of Folha de São Paulo, is one of the biggest newspaper in Brazil. Now I'm the only indigenous person there, but I asked to them, you need to change this. They say that they will change, but this is now we have the social media, and this is very powerful. And we are doing movies, and now we can talk with the other people when the big media don't show what's going on there. And I think we are using this to do this, to saying what's going on in our land when the big media don't want to say sometimes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Reminder that the Amazon is shared. The Amazon is shared by a few countries, including Peru. Thank you for that. The lady over there.
Hi, good evening. My name is Mash, and I'm studying the Master in International Governance and Diplomacy at Sciences Po PSIA. And speaking from a governance perspective, the United Nations is an organization that specifically acknowledges indigenous people as a state group, as part of a Rio +20 stakeholders. And so in every consultation, every public, open to a consultation that the UN launches, indigenous peoples are included as stakeholders. My question to you would be if you feel that, because you mentioned that you're working very hard to overcome all these challenges as a community, what about when the international community supports you and, for example, even in consultations, indigenous peoples are spelled with a capital letter out of respect and out of acknowledgement as a stakeholder group, both the I and the P? Do you feel that resonates and you feel the support? Does it impact you positively? Or, for example, do you feel there's more work to do, for example, by the UN? Thank you.
Good question. Difficult question. I don't know if the United Nations can do more than are doing, because they can do advisor, but they don't really can say what the countries need to do or Brazil should do. And the countries don't listen sometimes. So this is the problem, and and sometimes I think the United Nations is very is not so strong, you know, and of course it's very important that when, for example, copy and just place that the countries can discuss about what's going on. But yeah, I really don't know how answer this question. Yeah, no sé.
Thank you. And the last question goes to you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Gabriela. I'm from Colombia. I'm doing a master's in international development, and I just wanted to ask you if you think it's possible to have a transnational indigenous movement in the Amazon in order to expand, one way or another, this fight against climate change and protecting the Amazon. Thank you.
Okay. This exists. This is COICA, the name. It's an organization that all the indigenous peoples in the Amazon, the 9 countries. So this movement already exists. So yeah. So of course we need be just more strong, but we have this organization.
Thank you, Txai. You brought us the spirit of the forest. You brought this to us from the Amazon. We feel protected. We feel the wind. We feel the mountains. We feel the trees. We feel the birds. I think you need to take back to your people in the Amazon this big round of applause that the audience will give them. Okay, and now on for the last segment of the Youth and Leaders Forum.
Merci.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello? Okay.
Born in a hurry, always late, haven't been early since 88. The world is hard, I can be cold. Grandma cried when I pierced my nose. Good in a glass, good on green, good when your hands all over me. I'm alright with a slow burn, taking my time, let the world turn. I'm gonna do it my way, it'll be alright. If we burn it down and it takes all night, it's a slow burn. Yeah. In Tennessee, the sun's going down, but in Beijing, they're heading out to work. You know the bar down the street don't close for now. We should take a walk and look at all the flowers. 'Cause I'm alright with a slow burn, taking my time, let the world turn. I'm gonna do it my way, it'll be alright. If we burn it down and it takes all night, it's a slow burn. Whatever feels good. Old soul, taking my turn. I know a few things, but I still got a lot to learn. So I'm alright with a slow burn. A slow burn. A slow burn. A slow burn.
Tough act to follow after. Hello? Is this on? Hello? Oh, tough act to follow after someone like Txai. But yeah, one more for you.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope one day you will join us, and the world can live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people there in our world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope one day you will join us, and the world can live as one. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope one day you will join us, and the world can live as one.
So how does one follow that? My, that's difficult. Thank you very much, Guillermina. Thank you, Victor. That was amazing to end on this note. We started on a very sobering note this morning, and I think we end with hope, because we've been all through the day, we have found that there are things we can't do. Let me run very briefly through some of the things we have learned and where we can work. We have learned that the kind of globalization that we used to have in the 30 years needs change, needs system change. And that in this system change, we need to do more development, but we also need to ensure that we build on good domestic institutions. We've heard that we need to design the peace that we want to achieve. That is good to want peace, to end conflict, but we want to, and we need to design it. We've heard that if we want to protect the oceans, there is two areas that requires attention: liabilities and subsidies. And we know, because there are lots of local activities around the world, we know that this is an area where there is progress. More is needed. On artificial intelligence, we know that we should not be asking a computer what it can do. We should tell the computer what it should do. That is not the quantity of data, but the quality and the representativeness of the data that we need to ensure is there to make sure that data is not biased. On energy, we've learned that it's not enough to think about instruments and to adopt them, but it's also important to accelerate impact and results and to do this in an effective way. Lots of great ideas. I'm sure that you who have been listening have taken good note, and we have the rest of the semester and the semesters thereafter to unpack them. I want, and this small zooming into what we have learned, and with Txai. She's given us a very important message, that we all have responsibilities, that every one of us can do our part, and more importantly, that we are not alone. We also end on a positive note with the European Leadership Network, who has agreed to establish a new collaboration with Sciences-Po. We have welcomed Tanja Kronberg today. We want to now deepen the collaboration. The European Leadership Network is going to be working over the next years on exactly the same existential risks that we've been unpacking today. We are going to now delineate a program of collaboration to connect the students with leaders to curate some of these responses to the existential risks. I also want to thank, now on the thanks part, there is many to thank. We need to thank the New York Times for a great collaboration. We want to thank the over 30 students among you, especially those with the red shirt. I forgot mine at home, but you wearing it. Thank you very much for all the extra hours that you have put to deliver this 8th edition of the Youth and Leaders Forum. Please give them an applause. Before Davide leaves, although he's almost left, I want to thank Pule Brazil also because they've been instrumental in making sure that Txai would be with us today. Thank you also to the PSIA team. I don't know where Marie Zenaid is, Saint Marie Zenaid, and lots of colleagues that have worked with her.